Your phones are on silent? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My dear viewers, welcome to episode 2 on our podcast on Mic'd Up. Alhamdulillah, we were here with 2 other guests, which I'm going to introduce in a second. So today's topic, the New World Order. So a lot of people were questioning, messaging on social media, what are we going to talk about? So we're going to get into that very, very shortly. First and foremost, to get the formalities out of the way, subscribe and like our YouTube channel, Mic'd Up 416 on YouTube. So hit the like and subscribe button and hit the bell icon, which you can get updated on future clips and obviously live videos. So make sure you do that. Follow us on Instagram at Mic'd Up 416 to stay connected on content as well as upcoming podcasts and episodes. So please do that. And thank you very much for joining. We're also live on Facebook at the Makkah Islamic Center, which is our idara here in Scarborough. And we're here sat live and as well as live on Facebook, Sufi Council of Toronto and Sufi Council of Toronto on YouTube. So Jazakallah, thank you very much for joining. So I'm going to introduce my panel that are sat with me today. First and foremost, to my right is Hafiz Yahya. MashaAllah, Hafiz Yahya is first. Usually behind the scenes, and it's great to see that Hafiz Saab is with us. Very intelligent and obviously hardworking. I mentioned it in the first episode. Obviously a gem in one of our in our organization. So first and foremost, Assalamu alaikum, Hafiz Saab. Thank you for joining us.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me.
Great. It's finally good to see Hafiz Saab on the outside, facing the camera. So you do great work behind the scenes, so we wanted to kind of put you out front, so Jazakallah for that. Yeah. And then in front of us, back by popular demand, big hit the first episode with racial equality. Everybody was talking about that punchline about Qala and stuff like that. It went very viral. But we have Khatib al-Sunnat Toronto with us, Janab Muhtaram Aamer Qadri Saab. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hazrat, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Hafiz Yahya.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
MashaAllah. So we got our formalities out of the way. The guests have been introduced, so we're going to get right into it, inshallah. New World Order. Hot topic. A lot of things that people get pushed aside about this. What does the New World Order mean? What day and age are we living in? How to stay away from this? What are the key messaging? What are the things that are being manipulated? Our youth are being manipulated by. So inshallah, I'm going to start. Whoever wants to take off with the topic about the New World Order, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. New World Order, it's an order that it's against the Sharia. So once again, I start from the Quran. Remember the time when Allah has ordered the angels. Last week we spoke about racial equality, and even then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned the act of shaitan. Mm-hmm. Here again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, once again our true Lord, only Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when creating Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, angels were surrounded. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, I will make a vice regent onto this world.
Right.
Meaning a Khalifa. Khalifatul Allah. Mm-hmm. My Khalifa, vice regent. What was the necessity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala having a vice regent onto this world? To have order.
For sure.
Having Islam. Propagation of Islam. So over the years to come, they knew, even the angels then again in the other verse have spoken and questioned Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
There's a difference here. Questioning is now a sunnah of the angels as well. Ya Allah, they will cause mischief onto the earth. They're just asking, but you're going to create insan, human beings are going to create mischief on the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, again, you don't know what I know. Okay, but this whole world was created to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
This was a dalil for it too. So some people are against, oh, we're not following the Sharia. What is Sharia? What is this? Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Hazrat Adam alayhi salam to come onto this world to propagate the deen. Anything against Islam is a fitna and, of course, a new world order. So, let's go a little bit faster now. The signs of some of the new world orders. So, 2 ahadith, many signs, there's not enough time. This is not a taqreer. We're going to get into the podcast, so of course we can discuss. So, 2 ahadith I'm going to mention only here.
Right.
That are going to, it's relevant to our time. And then we're going to be discussing more about this as well. The slave, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, the slave girl will give birth to its slave master. To the slave master. This is ahadith Mubarak. Second ahadith, the Bedouins will compete in constructing
Tall buildings.
Right. These 2 ahadiths only I'm going to speak about. And here, what are we learning in the first ahadith? So remember, we need an ustad for us to teach us ahadith Mubarak as well. And this one, it's not to take literal. This is another metaphorically. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is indicating what the ulama ikram have said, the muhaddithin. Secular education is going to overtake the Quran.
For sure.
Okay?
For sure.
Second ahadith that we mentioned, and I hope the viewers are understanding that what we're saying now and the relevance of this time and how Islam is, they're trying to overtake Islam. Islam will never leave. They were trying to overtake Islam.
Right.
Secondly, the Bedouins will
compete
in buildings. This is relevant in our times.
Right.
This has never happened in any other nation.
Yeah.
Until this. And both of the ahadiths never has happened in any of the other nations except now. Many other minor signs and major signs occurred. Right. But these 2 are relevant of this time so we can elaborate and speak about what we can see. Now we are witnessing. We have seen the Bedouins were who? The poor ones of the natives of the countries of what we call Hijaz at that time, Saudi Arabia and the Arab world.
Right.
And what we have seen and witnessed, we are seeing buildings are overtaking the Kaaba.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, and these are indications of the New World Order as well.
Right.
And the coming of Ad-Dajjal.
Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal. This is going to be a hot one that we're going to talk about. But I want to turn it over to Hafiz in regards to the slave. The slave woman or the woman will give birth to its master. Let's talk about that. Where do you get from that?
So what I get from that is there's one minor sign that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned is that people who have little to no rank or are not worthy for a position,
right,
will be raised onto the greatest of positions.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So you see it happening nowadays that people who are unqualified for any sort of position whatsoever are leading nations and countries.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
There is some agenda behind it, whatever it may be. We're not touching upon that because that's not our topic. But what I get from that is to say that, listen, sad to say nowadays that if you have the right influence, if you have the right money, or if you know the right people, you can get to that position. It's no longer about who's rightfully befitted for that position.
Right.
It's about who's the best face for the position, but more from a PR perspective, not from a truly qualified standpoint.
Right.
right? And going back to what Aamer Bhai said here in the beginning, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Hazrat Adam and sent him as a Khalifa in this earth, right?
Yeah.
We got to remember that we as human beings, we don't know anything. We need a teacher, like he said, to teach us, right? And it's that lack of education. It's that lack of understanding or formal training, right? But, now, like he's mentioned as well, that the world is, turning into a fully secular state, right? And, it's all about how many degrees you got and, what sort of post-secondary education or higher education you have nowadays. And I'll tell you this, being from, and you guys all know, you both are in the professional world, that people, it doesn't matter how much, higher education you have, how many degrees you have, it's, they are not the brightest people. They're book smart people, as we say. They're not street smart.
Correct.
Right? It takes a mix of both in order to be qualified for a position that you need to represent or lead a nation or whatever it is you're doing. To be at the top, you need to have a balance of both.
And there's another ahadith Mubarak on what Yahya is saying as well. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says the ummah will be like the frost of the sea. You know how we have the foam of the sea? That's frost. That is to imply that we are going to be in many, but we're going to be weak in political matters. So the second ahadith that I mentioned were the Bedouins. That is to understand the governorship is to change. Now we're looking at another government as well. The first government, what we're talking about, the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But now here, the foam, this is what the ulama and the muhaddis have interpreted this ahadith. The frost of the ocean, the foam, is in political matters. We're going to have many, but we're going to be weak like the foam.
But we see that now.
Exactly.
Look in the Muslim world and the leaders in the Muslim world. Who is even on haqq? You would think Saudi Arabia, being that Makkah Mukarramah, Madinatul Munawwara are there, the famous two cities of Islam, that they would be the ones that be the flag bearers. But is that the case?
The Khalifa, when the Khilafat is overtaken, okay? And right now there is no Khilafat.
Correct.
The last of the Khilafat was the Osmaniyat Empire. That was the last of it. They applied the Sharia at all time, the Quran and the Sunnah at all time.
Of course.
So this is why that was the Khilafat. Right now we don't have a Khilafat. Even though the Arab leaders, they may have the power, they may have Makkah, they may have the entitlement of having Medina Sharif as well. But they don't, look what they're doing in Palestine. Look what they're doing in Yemen. Look what they're doing in Iraq. Look what they have done in Syria. Look what they're doing in Egypt. Well, they tried to do in Egypt right now, but that's also a minor sign of Dajjal coming.
But one of the main things, and we're talking about minor and major signs that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, one of them, like you mentioned, that the secular studies, that it's going to overtake Islamic studies. So Hafiz, let's talk about that. Why the agenda is to take Islam out of the equation. So why are people putting so much emphasis on secular versus Islam? And how do we go about changing that?
You see, I would say they're taking all of religion out of it. Forget about just Islam. They're taking all of religion out of it. Because here's what's happened. Secular institutes or secular places are now saying we're the forefront of knowledge. It used to be the exact opposite. Right? Your center of knowledge used to be your place of worship. Whether it was a priest, a pastor, an imam, whoever it was, a rabbi, they would all be the ones that were giving knowledge. Right? Because the Abrahamic faith especially, they were the ones that were teaching the divine knowledge. Right? You tell me, we knew about algebra long ago. We knew about a lot of things long ago. But we sadly didn't have the publicity, right, that the modern day world or the new scientists have. We didn't have what Newton had. We didn't have that publicity or anything, so we couldn't get published out there. We didn't have a face for ourselves like that in that sense. Right? But coming back to the point is that the whole, I guess you could say the whole existence has shifted into secularism. Right? It's not it's gone in the opposite direction. So, and here's what the claim is, and I speak with students at the university level, and they tell me this. They said, I get my knowledge from schools. That's the only place I get my knowledge from. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day what religion I belong to, as long as I'm a good human being.
Right.
Right? So they're saying, I learned how to be a good human being in school. I learned the basics of, basic human decency in school. Right? My question to them then becomes is that, okay, school only existed, let's say, 200 years.
Right.
Where did they get that knowledge from?
True.
Right? They took what they wanted from it, what sounded right, and then they brought it into their own curriculum.
Yeah.
So that by the masses that would be trained by it would all fall under it. Right?
Correct.
You'd agree on that?
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where the whole shift was, is that they picked and choose what they liked from it. Then they flipped the system and said, listen, we're going to go to a place that, doesn't have anywhere where we can start fresh and we can start training it from there and moving forward.
Right.
Right. So that's how the whole paradigm or the whole shift became into secularism.
Right.
And that's why, because people think they get all their knowledge and nourishment from being, secularly well established.
Right. Right. No, I mean, it's something that is obviously working, right? They're trying to take, let's call a spade a spade. They're trying to take Allah out of the equation. Mm-hmm. Whoever they are, we're going to discuss that in a second. Next, to your second ahadith. Bedouins, who were people like low income, low class, and shepherds.
The
shepherds. Ones. They used to herd sheeps and stuff.
They were.
Right? They all of a sudden now, the Badus, building buildings that are taller than the mountaintops, which is another sign of Qiyamah. So people go to Makkah Mukarramah taking pictures of the clock tower, and they don't know that this is one of the signs of the stage that is being set for Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal. So let's talk about that. A lot of people don't know. So in English, the Antichrist. Who is he? What's the stage?
So the Dajjal, who is Dajjal? Basically, there's an interpretation here that some of the ulama ikram have said he is demonic. And some said he is like a human demon. Right. Like because he's going to get a lot of power given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
So he was transported many times. So when Sahabas have asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is Dajjal? And the public should know about this too. This is the fourth disclosure. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was speaking to Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam. This is how important this topic is of Masih ad-Dajjal.
Right.
Of the end of times.
Yeah.
He is that demonic human figure we don't know.
Yeah.
What creature he is.
Yeah.
He has a spy.
Yeah.
Tajassus. That's why the word tajassus comes from spy. He creeps and he looks to see what the people are doing. His vice regents, his viceroys are doing. Are they complying and this and that. So the story of Dajjal comes very, very earlier, before we get to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Hadith Mubarak and the indications. At the time, let's go to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, Nimrud, the tyrant that time.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone was against Islam. Remember, no one wanted to be
from the beginning.
From the beginning, no one wanted to do sujood. Okay,
of course.
No one wanted to obey the not seeing.
Okay.
Everyone was an idol worshiper. Everyone was a pagan.
Yeah.
Nimrud, tyrant. Once again, there's a tyrant. There's a Yazid in every ummah. Yeah. Okay, in every nation. Okay, he was that. Nimrud. Where does this Christmas tree come from?
Yeah.
They used to believe in Christmas trees.
Yeah.
These trees that these pagans are seeing now.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with Christmas. This came from the time of Nimrud. Yeah. This is what they used to believe in as a god. That tree. Yeah. That tree. Coniferous tree.
Yeah.
And that is the significance of their god at that time. So look at the times are coming back now. The times, for older times, paganism is repeating itself.
Yep.
These pagans are coming back again. Now let's see. Let's go back to how Ibrahim alayhi salam defeated Nimrud and his ways. Now let's go into interesting times it's more relevant. Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. Okay, this is totally, if you read Surah Jinn and you recite, if you learn the Quran and you understand, this is the importance of understanding where black magic came from.
Right.
this ilm of black magic is such an ilm that everyone wants to know.
Right.
It's not if someone wants to use it,
They just want to
but
know
they
it.
just want to know it. Like,
Right.
what is this? But
Yeah.
this was given to certain angels as well
Yeah.
to place down onto the earth. Harut and Marut
Yeah.
were given. Okay, and I don't want to go too off track here. So quickly, black magic was spread on the earth by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to test the ummah of Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam.
Yeah.
But
They conquered it, and Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam buried it, which is called Solomon's temple,
right,
and buried it.
right.
And people are trying to get to that now, but we're not going to talk about
No,
that just
I'm
yet.
just saying, yeah.
But that's how he defeated it. Hazrat
Right.
Sulaiman alayhi salam buried it.
So they buried it. Now the ulama ikram have said, because he had the control of the jinns and the
course.
earth and
Yep.
animals and creatures.
Yep.
Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. Okay, just short notice. His ring. Whenever he appointed something, any jinn at any time,
Right.
he was appointed at any time. Any jinn in the world, any creature that we couldn't see right away was in the command of Hazrat Sulaiman. The winds were.
Yeah.
Okay, the birds were. The ants were.
Right.
Okay. Anyways, recap. Going a little bit faster now. Ulama ikram have said that he also imprisoned Dajjal as well,
Okay.
and put him in where? The Mediterranean Sea. So now a hadith in Mubarak, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's two narrations that he is in the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, Mediterranean Sea, and that zamana was called the Yemeni Sea. Okay, now, in the other narration, he was transported to in the other islands east of Medina, and that is in Bahrain. The ulama ikram have said. So now we have two narrations of where Dajjal is, who he was, and he's a demonic figure
Yeah.
that is going to come at the end of times, and he's going to try to deceive the Muslims
Right.
and conquer the world. His attempt is to conquer the world, and he will be given all the powers, and he is the false Masih, and he is also a Messiah for that nation that is looking forward for that prophet as well.
They've been looking since the time of they were promised that the promised Messiah was coming, who is Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. So I'm going to turn over to Hafiz Sahab. Dajjal is one of those demonic, I guess, existence that has a plan, and that plan is to manipulate the minds. So how do we see that manipulation happening in our day and age now?
The simplest or the easiest way to answer that is you take religion out of the equation.
Right.
Right? So going back to what I said earlier, is that if you take religion out of the equation, people don't know anything to do with religion. They don't know anything, or they don't have anything to do with it. So when you're faced with a trial or a tribulation like the Dajjal, you're not going to know how to prepare for it, or you're not even going to see it coming.
Right.
It's just going to come right at you, and you're going to fall prey to it.
Right.
Right? Because remember, when the Dajjal comes and someone comes in front of him, right, he's going to see the Dajjal is going to have a heaven and a hell.
Yeah.
Right? But in most people, and he says, if you believe in me, I'll put you in heaven. But his heaven in reality is hell, and his hell is in heaven in reality,
Vice
right?
versa, yeah.
Yeah. But you can see that you can fall trap really easy, right? Because no one's either studied or prepared for it, right? You weaken the iman, you take out the faith out of a person, they will literally be blind, and they will be like those play dolls that you have. You can manipulate them very easy, right? And you see, one thing about society today is that it does that.
Right.
So in society today, you could have any view, any belief, as long as it's not against basic human decency, right? And you can get the whole world to support you, especially in this side of the world.
Yeah.
Right? And we see movements and stuff like that recent in the past that we don't agree with, right? Or they don't fall in line with religion, but they gain massive support throughout the world, right? And that's one of the other things of this whole new world order and the movement, right? Is to say, hey, listen, religion might not accept your view or belief, but we'll stand by you, right? We'll stand by you, right? But you also need to, stand with us When's the
Exactly.
time,
Yeah.
right? I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist. Or
No,
anything.
no, it's facts are
I'm
facts.
bringing in real day, right? And
Absolutely.
we don't have too much time to go into detail. That's the reason
Yeah.
why I'm kind of going briefly over things,
Right.
right? But that's why. So you take religion out of the equation, and you can literally set anyone up to fail
And manipulate the minds.
and manipulate the minds.
So, Al-Masih ad-Dajjal, the false Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
So, who is the real Messiah? So, people are going to get manipulated. The Messiah is coming. Who's the Messiah? How do we identify Dajjal versus the real Messiah?
At the end of times, one of the other signs before the coming of Dajjal is Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Imam Mahdi is not a prophet,
Right.
but he is an imam that will be sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save the ummah.
Right.
There will be Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, because the term Antichrist, so the real Christ has to come as well. So the real Christ, but again, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam will come not as a prophet, but as an imam, a person of the nation of Rasulullah salatu wasalam.
MashaAllah.
He will come, he will break the crosses, he will kill the swine, right? He will show that he's not a son of God.
Right.
He was the true Masih. He was a
At that
messenger at that time,
Yeah.
but he was a prophet and a messenger
Yeah.
at a particular time.
Absolutely.
But to gather the people back
Right.
under the command of the Shariat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, and he will come and he will appear in Damascus, in Syria,
Right.
and he will appear in the yellow. He'll be wearing yellow, a thobe, yellow, and with him, around him, will be angels, and he will ascend or descend. Sorry, and to what we call Bayt al-Maqdis as well, Syria, and then of course, and then they will travel to Bayt al-Maqdis as well
To conquer
to conquer the world from Dajjal.
and give the real message.
Yeah,
'Cause
and then
you mentioned that Isa alayhi salam is going to come and he's going to break the cross.
yes,
He's going to
Kill the swine.
tell people that he was not the son of God,
Yes.
that these people were mistaken.
yes.
Will people believe in that message? They denied him then. Are they going to deny him now?
They will deny him now, because Dajjal will. Well, who were they wanting now is Dajjal,
Right.
and who they'll be realizing to see that, okay, for example, the Son of God now, that who we portrayed, is someone else. He's not a white man. He's not a blonde-haired man. He's not a blue-eyed man. He wasn't a man that we portrayed that what we wanted.
Right.
Now he is someone else. Oh, let me say this now. Oh, he's Palestinian.
Right.
All this time he had him as a blonde hair and a white person. Okay, what are you gonna say to him now? He's a Palestinian.
Right.
Okay. Oh, you don't like Arabs? Well, there you go. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam is an Arab.
Right.
He's a Palestinian.
Right.
He's born in Nazareth. It's in the Quran.
For sure. It's in the Bible too.
Of course.
In their Bible.
So when they see him, firstly, they're like, uh-oh, we don't bow down to brown people. Now we have to bow down to brown people? What's going on here? Right? So that's what's going on. We don't believe what's going on here. Our God is brown now? Because they're believing Son of God.
It's true.
Right? Now we have to believe in a brown God?
Yeah.
What's going on? So they already have deceived themselves.
Right.
And that's why when they see Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, they're going to be like, listen, I don't know who this is. We're going to follow Dajjal. Because he is what we wanted.
Right.
Power is what we wanted.
Right.
We wanted to drink alcohol. We wanted to eat swine. We wanted to do black magic. We wanted to do adultery. We wanted to be intimate with same sexes and do all of that.
Right.
We wanted to drink alcohol out in the public. You know what? We wanted to disrespect our parents, and we wanted wealth.
We wanted to be kings.
Exactly. We wanted to do whatever. What is this concept coming now?
That's a very good point.
So
Very good point.
of course they're going to be deceived, right? So Imam Mahdi alayhi salam as well, and for the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people are going to be very confused their time too. They're going to say, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is going to be nothing like what some of the firqas in Islam.
Yeah.
Are going to be very puzzled when they see the situation there too.
Right. We're going to get to that in a second, but I want to turn into, and this is for any one of you who just jump in, is one of the major issues that we face is that the stage is being set, minds are being manipulated. People want to do their own thing. So like you just said, people want to do their own thing. They want to be kings. No one can tell me what to do. And a lot of that is when we see from the time of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, and Hafiz mentioned this before the podcast too, Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam's time, he wasn't clothed a lot. It was very less clothing, right? And as generations and centuries kept going on, people kept throwing more clothes on, more clothes on, more clothes on. And then you see the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the Imam Sharif, and the long shirt, which goes down to the just above the ankles and such, and armory and all these things. And this is how they used to be. But what are we seeing now? Any one of you, it doesn't matter.
No, yeah, in the secular world, you're young and you're still in university. Or you just graduated, alhamdulillah. You can speak about these matters, what you see. What I've seen in my time was a portion of, we can see ladies with skirts on to a certain level.
Yeah.
Bodies, you can see their figures because I went to school. We went to a school that, I didn't go to a private school. We went to public schools. Yeah. So we've seen all type of different people.
Yeah.
Right? Now, and speaking about like what you just mentioned, we've seen certain things, but now it's a different thing. Now we've seen, we don't see that much clothing at all.
Right.
I agree with you. I mean, I didn't get to see it so much in middle school and high school, but as soon as I hit university, it was like a culture shock. Yeah. Right? It just hits you in the face that their expression is that, the more free you want to declare, or the more freedom that you want to declare freedom, show nudity.
Right.
Right? Take it all off.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you express you're truly free. Right? Wow. I can do whatever I want. Yes, of course we can do whatever we want. Yeah. Right? But you tell me, why are you law-abiding citizens in Canada?
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. You have the right to do whatever you want, but why do you still follow the law?
It's true. You know what? And one of the hadith Mubarak, the Prophet ﷺ said that women will be clothed, but they'll be naked.
Yes.
And that's one of the minor signs of the coming of the final hour. But we see this now. But when we talk about aura, and we touched a little bit about this last week as well, you mentioned aura. So women are clothed, but they're naked. What does this mean? Number one. And number two, how is this setting the stage from Dajjal?
There's another hadith I want to mention as well. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there's 5 things when my nation makes lawful, their fate is going to be sealed.
Right.
1, cursing each other. How many of us curse each other naturally now, regularly?
Yeah.
Yo, what the? Yo, what the? Oh, yeah. Yo. All that. Secondly, drinking.
Yeah.
It's it's normal now. It's normalized. And I can tell you, some people think it's normal. In the business, in the business atmosphere, or, say I took a Muslim airline and they were serving sharab.
Yep.
Okay? And before that, they were saying Bismillah for the dua.
Serving.
And then after that, they're serving alcohol for certain people that want to drink it.
Yeah.
Thirdly, for listening to strong stresses, meaning women singing. Okay? Fourth, and fifth as well, men having intimate love with men, and women having intimate love with women.
Right. So
this is what we see, and this is what we see now.
Yeah.
Okay? The nakedness, what you were mentioning, that is Sahabis asked, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned this hadith, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Sahabas were shocked. He goes, Ya Rasulullah, women are going to be naked?
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned it twice.
Yeah.
He goes, yes, they're going to be naked walking. And you can fully naked.
Mm-hmm.
Sahabis say, Ya Rasulullah, like, just in shock.
Right.
Really? And he mentioned it again.
Yeah.
He goes, yes, it will be. And we see this now.
But it's coming. It's coming.
It's everywhere.
Nude
now.
beaches and all of these things. And like what Hafiz was saying, it makes sense because it's natural now. Pornography, is people can, like, you're doing it more and more and watching videos and on internet.
People are more addicted to pornography than any other addiction.
100%.
Now in this world.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which nation of country you're from.
Yeah.
That is normal.
100%.
And that's what's killing the Muslims right now.
Right.
You know, Hazrat Salahuddin Ayyubi rahmatullahi said two things before he left this world to his nation.
Yeah.
And just a nasiyah for them. And this is a nasiyah for all of us. He said, stay away from sharab and shabab. That's it. Before. Yeah. Sharab and shabab. That's it.
Yeah.
Alcohol and women.
Right.
And now the Muslim nations are using alcohol and women.
Yeah.
As much as they can now, and it's destroying us. And this is our weakness.
100%. I mean, it's not just about, we don't want to seem like, we're against just women and women are the only bad ones. Our guys are just as enough to blame. But women, and the thing is, now you have these people who are on like Instagram, tight jeans, and their backside is showing, their chest is showing, and this and that. And that's what's attracting the men. But the men obviously should know better and deal with it the right way, etc. But how do we stop our own women? We got these bloggers, these hijabi bloggers. I think Hafiz Luqman was saying before the podcast, these niqabi bloggers, because they cover their face, but they'll show everything else, which makes no sense anyways. But our own people, how do we fix this?
Brother, like the other thing too, fitna, this is another a sign that Rasulullah ﷺ said at the end of times, fitna is going to be and we're also in that time, fitna. And damn to that person, it's a hadith Mubarak, that wakens fitna. Because fitna is actually a weapon of Dajjal.
So the ones who keep it going.
Yeah, keep it going. Stir it up purposely.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the Muslim world. Now we have like the same things that have been resolved.
Yeah.
We're being keep speaking about it.
Yeah.
We keep speaking about errors or interpretations that occurred long time ago, and we keep speaking about it now that has been resolved, and we keep bringing it up. This is why Rasulullah ﷺ is the rightfully guided prophet, and he was the prophet, because
100%. Everything
that he has said is coming, it's in front of us. The ones who have studied the deen, they will realize and they'll analyze this too. Right. And they know. And the ones who don't know, I highly suggest, brothers, come to the madrasa, come with the ulama, speak and listen and understand. Fitna everywhere. It's going to be a time of fitna.
Yeah.
Fitna, tribulations at all times. And then it'll be hard. Islam is going to be at that point when coal is going to be
like coal.
Iman is going to be like coal. Islam will be like coal.
Yeah.
Hard to
grasp. Right.
That's how Islam is now.
Right.
If you look, all these signs of the New World Order and the end of times and all this time, look at how Islam is, even though we're the most in the world.
Right.
We're the most populated.
Yeah.
But in political matters, we're nothing.
Right.
Secular world, we get abused.
Right.
Okay? Look at the minorities. They're on top, and they're not even up like a percent. Like, they're nothing.
Right.
And they're ruling the world.
So a lot has to do, like, all of these things, when you think about signs that are happening in the world, I always say it like before, like from we can remember, there's probably happening generations before, like our parents' time and this and that. Where it started to change was 9/11. For the Muslims especially. 9/11 and then further, then you start seeing like, the addiction to drugs and alcohol and sex and all of these things, and women and men and mingling and zina and all of these things. This started. What I want to touch on is that Dajjal is setting this stage. Who are the people of Dajjal? Who are the people of Dajjal and his army, and how do you identify? Because how do you know? Like you said, your ilm is going to be like hot coals, and it's going to be hard to grasp onto. So how do you prepare?
Rasulullah has said, reading Surah Qaf every Friday is a protection from Dajjal.
Right.
This opens Surah Al-Qaf from that Friday to the next Friday. It will protect you from Dajjal.
Yeah.
And also what? It will protect you and bring light to you in your heart.
Right.
That light in the heart is called basira. That will make you identify and know the truth and the falsehood.
Right.
This is the ilm and the qaram of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that was given to its men.
Right.
So, meaning also, whenever you see fitna, another hadith mubarak, Rasulullah says, go straight home.
Right.
When you see fitna, go straight home, sit at your home.
Right.
Don't leave.
Yeah.
These are hard times. The fitna is one thing, brother, that truth is there, but it's very hard for you to understand.
Right.
But there are signs for hope.
Of course.
Right? And this is one of them, by steadfast on the Quran,
Right.
reading of the Quran.
Now, there's one theoretical or hypothetical thing I'd like to throw it at you, both of you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned who is from that army, right? And hypothetically speaking, or in one way you can look at it as every single person could be that, potentially. Right? Because, look, we're all victim to the system here, right? And what I mean by that is, look, from the day you have a child, right? From the day the kids are brought up, what do? They go to school in the morning. They wake up, get ready, go to school. They come home, they might have some extracurriculars, then they work on their homework, watch TV, go to bed.
Yeah.
Where is your time to learn your religion there?
Yeah.
Right?
We're all falling trap.
Exactly. So from day one until you're right into the working force, no formal training in religion whatsoever. Right? So how you can claim to be Muslim on the outside and everything, right?
Oh, that's a good point.
But you don't have the ability to identify and then protect yourself as well.
Yeah.
Right? So hypothetically speaking, we could be the largest in number, Islam-wise, right?
Yeah.
But majority of those could be agents in disguise.
Yeah.
And they don't even know it.
Yeah.
Sad to say.
Yeah, that's
right?
That's very
because of the way the new world order, as we're calling this, the system has been designed.
Right.
Right? It's from day one till you die. Work, put a roof over your house, and just keep that cycle repeating.
Stay busy, keep Islam out of the picture.
Right?
Right?
Well, that's what Pharaoh did to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam's qawm as well.
Yeah.
That's why I said from the older times, that time is repeating itself. We're slaves. This time it's different slavery now. We're happy to be slaves now. Right? We're happy to be arrested.
Handcuffed.
Here, policeman, I'm smoking weed. Okay, go to jail now. We're happy to be arrested now.
Yeah.
We're drinking alcohol outside. Oh, no problem. Okay, you broke the law? In jail. Oh, yes, sir. Sure. It's cool now.
Yeah.
Okay, and then migrant were like working. That's another slavery, right? So we're happy to get a visa wherever we want to leave out of the countries that we come from voluntarily now,
right?
And be slaves in this country.
Wow, it's actually an eye opener because you know what Hafiz just said. Did you have something?
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just adding on to what he said as well, right?
Yeah.
That look, you as a law-abiding citizen in whatever country you live in, right? If you want to drive a car, you get a license, right? You want to do X, Y, and Z, you make sure you go through the right ways to do it, right? But when you pick up and read that Quran, where'd you get your license to read that? Did you go to a madrasa and formally graduate with some basic understanding, right? And people just start interpreting their own interpretations of the deen as well, right? And they say, oh, you know what? No, I can take my own interpretation and this is what this means, right? And fine, you can have a difference in opinion in some matters, but if you're not an expert, don't talk about it because you don't have the right and you don't have the right credentials to critique and, make your own decision off of it, right? And that's one thing, that happens nowadays too, because some people, just because they don't agree with you, they'll fall prey to the system as well.
Right.
Right?
That's very good. So let's talk on that. I want to keep that going because I want to talk about Dajjal after. Sorry to cut you off because I want to go about Dajjal and recognizing Dajjal, etc. But going on what Hafiz was saying is people interpret their own deen. Only God can judge me. What are you talking about? Only God can judge me, right? Like they're talking about the Quran doesn't say. It says stay away from wine and stay away from alcohol. So I can smoke weed. I can take heroin. It doesn't say anything about that. So let's talk about that. People interpreting their own version of the deen. Where are we going?
That's another fitna.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another. It's going to be another firqa as well, and that's another fitna.
Right.
But also in the Quran, Hafiz Yahya also knows. In the Quran it says, not to opinionate. Follow your imam as well. And some of the other fitna, the other firqas as well, they tend to not understand these ayats, but they understand everything else, but they don't understand the basics of not opinionating.
Right.
Okay? You need to listen and grab the imam and listen to him and understand what he's saying.
Right.
And back to what you were saying, these new versions are actually just, it's another way of Dajjal entering your home as well, through Islam.
Right. How so?
You have terrorism.
Right. Extremism.
You have extremism. And that's terrorism. People who are not ulama, claiming themselves to be ulama, and they're on the mimbars, they don't know how to read, and unfortunately are destroying Islam.
Right.
Look at the simplest thing in Ramadan. We have numerous halal committees here in the GTA or North America.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, people have their own opinions on what we should do.
Yeah.
When there's no justified, you know, confirmation coming from the deen.
Right.
Right? They said, oh, you know, you should just announce it right after Maghrib, whether it's going to happen or not, or let's follow this. Yeah, but can we do that in light of the deen?
Right.
Right? Because you can say so many things, you can come up with so many ideas, but your guidelines, your restrictions, or the path you have to follow is your deen.
What is the other sign of the Quran, Hafiz Yahya? What is the other sign of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, mentioning about the end of times? How many firqas are there going to be?
Yeah.
It's going to be over 73.
There you go.
Right?
And one will
be in heaven.
Be in heaven, yeah.
So everyone thinks they're right.
Yeah. So there'll be only one. That's why hold on to the Quran, hold on to the Sunnah, and follow your Imam. Follow your Imam correctly, and that is from the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
MashaAllah.
That's it.
So Dajjal. I want to talk about Dajjal. How to identify Dajjal. There's various narrations about Al-Masih ad-Dajjal. One of them that comes in, I'm going to spark the conversation with this. Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari radiyallahu an was on a ship, and that ship got blown away in the sea, and it went somehow some far away. Some people have said it went to England. Some people have said that it's gone to Bahrain. Some people have said it's gone to somewhere in Europe, etc. Anyways, Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari radiyallahu an comes off the ship with the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and a man filled with hair comes to them and says, "Are you Tamim al-Dari?" And he says, "Yes." Radiyallahu an. He says, "Come, somebody's waiting for you." He comes. They take him to like a let's call it a house, like a barn, 4 walls and a roof, and a man is there chained up, and it says Kafara on their forehead, lazy eye, one eye. He puts his head up and he says, "I am Dajjal." So obviously Dajjal is, I'm not going to be coming out until Allah's command comes. And when this happened, all of it, just long story short, Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari radiyallahu an goes back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tells he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is what happened, and the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam says, "Yes, you have seen Dajjal." So,
but even now, when Dajjal does come, right? So they're gonna be like, "Oh, it says kafir only on his forehead. It's okay. He's still a Muslim."
It's about what's on the inside. Only
it's
God
about
can
what's in
judge
the
him,
inside,
right? Only God can judge him.
Right? That's what they're gonna say.
Right.
But don't judge him, man. Leave him. Just allow him to come in our circle. Don't worry.
So can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
On Netflix, there was a show, season 1 of The Messiah. Do you know how many people believed that wasn't about Dajjal, that it was about the true Messiah that's going to come, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam?
I never seen it, so I don't know.
I
Did you
haven't
watch
seen
it?
it, but I've
I
heard,
watched it.
Yeah, I've heard of what you're saying is that
Yeah.
a lot of people thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, when you watch it, we watch it for knowledge, not to support. I didn't like post it.
No,
and
it was a big
guys,
thing. It was a big thing.
you guys
Like,
gotta watch it and this and that. Like I didn't share it with anyone. I watched it for knowledge, and it is all over. Like he comes to Palestine, he saves the people, he's curing people, he's bringing people from the dead, and he's showing them. So Dajjal is going to have all of these powers, right? So what are some of the powers that he's going to have?
He's gonna have such powers where, as Yahya mentioned before, he's gonna have hell and heaven on both of his palms, and it's a deception. He can do whatever he wants. There will be earthquakes. He can kill people. He can raise them up again. after killing them, he'll raise them back alive again.
Right.
He got this power from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
Right. But it's a test, and once again, it's the biggest test for that nation whenever Dajjal will come. It's the biggest fitna ever.
Right.
And that is Dajjal.
Yeah.
And we have to, brothers and sisters who are watching as well, we need to be prepared for Dajjal at any time.
Right.
Not just for that time. The signs are occurring.
Right.
Dajjal can appear at any time when Allah wants him to.
Right.
Okay? These predictions and these misinterpretations, once again, oh, it's in England, it's in this.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Brother, but like, Dajjal, and there's some predictions, even I was listening to a taqreer of the ulama ikram, he goes, we cannot go upon these predictions because some of them are opinionated as well, brothers.
Absolutely.
Right? So we need to stick to the ahadith mubarak and what the muhaddithin have said, and stick to those opinions, of course, what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said as well. Be prepared of Dajjal at any time.
Right.
There's Dajjal in your home right now. There's TV.
Yeah.
That's destroying us.
Cell phones.
Cell phones.
Yeah.
Right? And that is even mentioned. There's another hadith I mentioned that I read today by Dr. Shadi. And whoever's not following Dr. Shadi, follow Dr. Shadi.
100%.
Unbelievable scholar. And
Definitely.
I learned this hadith from him today, meaning from his page today. And I will discuss with him more. He said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there's going to be drums on everyone's ear at the time of
Dajjal.
at the end of times, of the time of Dajjal.
Yeah.
And even then, if you look at the interpretation, the commentary of it, the Sahabas were in awe. It was drums, and everyone's saying, what is he saying? Headphones.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are so controlled by music and TV.
Yeah.
And these are our idols now.
Right.
TV artists,
Yeah.
music artists, they're our idols now.
Yeah.
We know all their songs. We know all their dance moves. Okay? We know all their dance moves, when to shake it, when to do it, right? And when. But we don't know how to say Bismillah in Qiraat.
Allahu Akbar.
It's like what he said, and then apply that to today. Like, Salah has just become up, down, and back to town.
Yeah.
That's all it's become.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And they don't know the verses, they know more song lyrics.
Yeah.
Right? And one other sign is that I would regard the Dajjal as Satan's trick play.
Right.
Right? Because at the end of the day, he reports to who?
Shaitan.
Absolutely.
Shaitan, right?
Yeah.
So one of the signs from that is that a person will come in front of the Dajjal, and that person's parent might have passed away. So the Dajjal will say, listen, if I bring your father back to life, right, in front of you, will you not submit to me as the Lord? That person will say, of course. Right?
Allahu Akbar.
And Shaitan will take the appearance of that person's father, or whoever the parent with the deceased one is, and they'll come right in front of him.
Allahu Akbar.
Right? And that person will now submit to the Dajjal, right? And it goes back to education, right? If our own people can't identify the basic signs, they lack the basics, how are they going to protect themselves from one of the greatest survival of the fittest tests?
Of course.
And this is a big one, exactly. But here's the other thing, is that it is not only the biggest test, but your iman. Are you going, imagine this is an open book test. He's coming, this is what he looks like, this is what he's going to do. He's going to come in front of you, and you're going to fail that test.
So what is the ahadith for today, with the Sufi Council ahadith today? What did, and dear respected viewers, also, when you do get these ahadith for today, please, we do take our time of printing these ahadith and putting it on social media. What is the ahadith of today of the Sufi Council? And it is the world.
Enduring harm in the world. So whoever seeks the world will be harmed in the hereafter, and whoever seeks the hereafter will be harmed in the world, thus being harmed for the sake of the everlasting.
So meaning to say, this is a test for the end of times as well.
Yeah.
Whoever wants the dunya now, they're going to get harmed in the hereafter. Whoever wants the hereafter will get harmed in the dunya now. This is the test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You understand? And what is one of the signs of Dajjal? What did Yahya just say? You know,
Yeah.
he's going to have hell and heaven on one time. What do you want? So the believers will say, I will rest assured I want to die. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. And I want to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
People walk by graves and they rather be in the graves than
Right.
be on the earth.
I'd
on the
rather
other side.
just pass away and he's a false messiah. That's it.
Yeah.
And these are the signs
Right.
of a believer as a mu'min.
Right.
Again, just summarizing is that Islam is always going to test you. There's always going to be a test for a believer.
Yeah.
It's never going to be an easy path, or it's not going to be a straightforward ride. There's always going to be a test, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't burden a soul more than what they can bear.
100%.
He always tests you to what you're capable of. And you got to understand like this, that if he's testing you, the more and more he's testing you, the more and more closer you may be to him.
Yeah.
Right? But people fail to see that. Anytime you tell me, when do people come to the masjid or make dua? When they're in parishani, when they're in hardship.
When they're worried.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't just take out, 1 second and they say, Alhamdulillah. Say, I'm thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for another day, or what, right? So that's what it's become to. And the way everything's being orchestrated is to tune it so that everyone pretty much loses their faith and their identities, right? And they become just a human being, quote unquote, right? And they can't protect themselves, right? Like your brother just said, like Aamer Bhai just said, that we have so many Muslims who are at the forefront of their fields in the dunya.
Right.
What happened in the deen?
100%.
Where's all that lackluster? Where's all that shine? Right? Sure. It's all going for the dunya, and nothing's coming back here to help us for the actual test.
Right.
Right? So that was just to briefly summarize my thoughts about it.
No, for sure. No, and it's, you know what? It's something that this topic is not going to go away. It's going to keep getting worse day by day. The fitna is going to arise and stuff like that. Like we have people, Hafiz, the both Hufaz that are back there sending me messages. There's people that like to chat and be derogatory. We talked about racial equality last week, and then you're going to sit there on the YouTube page and I won't call your name out, but you keep it up, I'm going to. And, saying derogatory stuff and this and that. We're the biggest racists, right? And then you're making remarks on our... I hope you're watching, because it takes a lot to kind of speak on behind a TV screen or a computer. But it takes a lot to come face-to-face and have that conversation.
Open invitation
and stuff
for anyone that's saying anything.
Oh, absolutely.
Come and sit down. We don't have a problem. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? Open
Come sit with Hazrat and the Hufaz and stuff, and we can have a conversation. You guys like to call name calling and stuff like that. It just shows your character. We're here talking about the true message of Islam, and one of the fitnas of Dajjal, obviously, the people behind these fake accounts and stuff and messaging. It's funny. I just laugh about it. We shouldn't even give it attention, actually. But to wrap it up, final message, maybe warning shots, kind of FYIs or whatever. We'll start with you, Hazrat, and then we'll go to Hafiz Sahib and then conclude, inshallah.
Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, brothers and sisters, the one that reads Fajr Salah,
MashaAllah,
through their congregation or Jamaat, and the same day reads his Isha Salah, or Jamaat, on his forehead, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will command an angel to write on his forehead for 40 days if he keeps this up. On his 40 days, an angel will write on his forehead that he's free from hypocrisy.
MashaAllah.
You'll be free from hypocrisy. Brothers, in other nations, this is the rahmah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that is upon us. In other nations, when a nation has done bad, angels used to go on their doors and write, you did this sin.
Right.
Or their faces would have been deformed.
Okay.
Right on the spot. You heard in other nations, people, there's insan that turned into monkeys and different animals because of their sins and their hypocrisy. This is the rahmah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Allah's karam that has kept us in His shafqat, that has hid our sins. Because Islam has to propagate.
Of course.
And from the remembrance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Islam will go to its aruj.
Of course.
There's hope. There's
course.
always hope in Islam.
100%.
Nothing will defeat Islam. Let's get this clear. You are appointed today. You fail, you're going to die. Someone else will be appointed. Simple.
Yeah.
Don't think that we're sitting here or I'm sitting here. The day I slip, and this is for the message for the viewers. If I slip, don't follow me anymore.
Yeah.
Don't follow me.
Yeah.
Follow someone else. But until I'm speaking the truth, brothers, listen to what I'm saying and do dua for me that I stay onto the correct path.
Inshallah.
You slip, Allah will eliminate you,
Someone
and He
else
will
will come.
appoint someone for you.
Of course.
Because Islam has to grow,
Of course.
and it will continue to grow.
Absolutely.
So continue to educate your families. Continue to come to the masjid.
Of course.
Continue to read the Quran. Continue to gain ilm
Knowledge.
from the ulama.
Of course.
It never ends. As I told you, I learned ahadith today. Keep learning. Learning is the best thing, the best tool for you. The kids out there, the message that I have for you, it's a hard time. It's a very tough time. Get your parents involved.
Yeah.
Let them know what's happening. Something's bothering you. Your parents should be involved in your life
course.
at all times.
Of course.
Keep them engaged. And that's something that's a nasiyah for myself as well. What I would like to have, like when I have my son, when he's going through his high schooling or his university, I want to be there at every time. And, you know, we have to be engaged with our children. We cannot let our children go.
Right.
So, Dajjal will come. Dajjal army is there. They're apparent now.
Yeah.
But you need to propagate Islam and don't lose the rope of the Quran and Sunnah.
Hafiz.
Again, I'm going to sound very similar to what Aamer Bhai said, but there is one sentence I'd like to say is that insan comes from two root words, right? Uns and nisyan.
Yeah.
Uns means to forget, nisyan means to forget, uns means love.
Yeah.
Or the other way around, sorry. I did temporarily, it just slipped my mind. But we
Yeah.
come from two root words, love and forget. So the saying goes that like this, that we love to forget and we forget to love,
MashaAllah.
right? So, and that applies to going back to the basics, we forget to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We become so busy, so diluted in this world, in our day-to-day lives. There's nothing stopping you from becoming the best you are in this world. But also remember, you have to answer before Him, and you have a life after this as well. So what are you doing to prepare for that?
Yeah.
Right? These trials and tribulations are going to come, right? Don't forget to love Him, and don't make it a habit to forget to love Him.
MashaAllah.
Right?
MashaAllah.
That's where I'm going to keep it at.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. So, another episode in the books. Inshallah, we've had some good response even after the first one and stuff like that. And this was great. So, for Hafiz Yahya and Hazrat, thank you very much. Jazakallah for taking time out to be here today. So, just as a summary, the New World Order, as the two guests have said, one was continue to remember Allah. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. Like you remember me, I will remember you. And then the next message is don't give up hope. Islam Abibi Zinda. Islam will always be Zinda and alive. And as until the day of Qiyamah, there will always be believers and those to protect the deen of Islam, like the righteous ulama and the awliya. So keep faith alive. So Jazakallah everyone for watching. Thank you very much. Please go onto the YouTube page, Mic'd Up 416, like, subscribe, and share this video. Share the video for knowledge so people can gain knowledge. One of the things Hafiz Yahya mentioned before the podcast, a lot of people don't know even what Dajjal is and what his identity is, etc. So share the message. We try to keep it to an hour at the most, but as we continue every Saturday, 7 p.m., by hitting the like and the subscribe, it's a cheap segue, and the bell icon, you'll be notified, inshallah, and the posters will be out every Thursday. So follow us on Instagram, Mic'd Up 416, Sufi Council of Toronto, Facebook and YouTube, and all of the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. So please follow us on those channels as well, and the Makkah Islamic Center on Facebook as well as Instagram for updates on what is happening in the masjid. Yes, Hafiz.
If you have any topic requests,
Yeah.
put it in the comments under the video.
Absolutely.
Right.
So if you want us to discuss a certain topic or talk about a certain topic, feel free. You can message us on the platforms, or you can put it in the comment in the live chat as well. And next week, we got a great great program for you guys all, which we'll keep a secret till next week Thursday. But Saturday, December 26th, we'll be talking about that as well. And there's a donation link. Obviously, the masjids are closed, and we are still in need for donations and such. So please donate.suficouncil.com. Whether it's sadaqah, we'll take sadaqah and give it to the people that deserve it, and as well as lillah and for the masjid. So please continue to support us. Keep us in your du'as, and we will keep you in your du'as. Until next time, I'm your host, Omar Qadri, and from the panel that was here today, Jazakallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.